When buying food or meals in your business, it can be really easy to end up in a tax trap. So let me show you how to deal with them. So when it comes to food, one of the key things to do is make sure that you categorize it correctly. And I've put 3 buckets on here, and those buckets cross, which is where sometimes it can get quite complicated. So starting with the easiest one, you could have something known as entertainment. Entertainment could easily be you discussing business out with a potential business prospect. That bucket's not tax deductible. Then you have something known as subsistence. And if you're in that bucket, that one's fairly easy as well, because that one is tax deductible and normally allowable. So for example, if you went to a temporary workplace, let's say you went to see a customer up north for a one-day visit and you buy yourself dinner while you're up there and you're going to stay in a hotel, generally those kind of things are going to end up being subsistence or travel. So you can see already you've got 2 buckets there. One's tax deductible, one's generally not, and you want to make sure that you separate them in your records, whether it's your spreadsheet or your software, to make sure you get that right. But I think the most complicated bucket for me is this one, and we're going to call this staff entertainment, and that's where you're buying your team meals, and that could include you, of course, but let's just presume you've got a couple of members of the team. Now, the problem with this one is that there's almost subcategories of this that happen. Staff entertainment generally is tax deductible. The problem is sometimes you can have a problem with the team member having a tax bill if you get this wrong. So there's a few things to be wary of. So one is, let's say you've taken everybody out for a Christmas do. That's quite often known as an annual function. So that's okay. Maybe you've got a summer barbecue, but there's a limit to the amount you can do in a year. So it's £150 per head that you're allowed in a tax year. So, and you can split it over multiple functions, but we won't go too deep into that in this video, but it could be that. But if it is that, you've got to know that it's that and that you're potentially using up some of their limits. Now, on top of that, it could also be, let's say you've bought some food in, you could potentially have subsidised canteen. If you think about these big organisations, quite often they will have their own canteen. It could be, if it met the criteria, subsidised or free meals under canteen. And that's also okay. And actually that's tax exempt for the individuals. But there are criteria for it. If it's neither of those, perhaps it could be what's known as a trivial benefit. I'm just going to write triv ben because I can't spell. A trivial benefit there. And what the trivial benefit does is it allows for the fact that the employee could have up to £50 worth of food effectively for free. Normally it's used for other reasons, but you could potentially use it for food. Now, the problem with it is sometimes you get expenditure that doesn't fit into any of these buckets. So let's say you decided to take a department of your team out for a curry. Now, the problem with that is that it's not subsidised canteen, because for a start, it's not on your premises. It's unlikely to be an annual function because not everybody's in attendance. And it can't be a trivial benefit because it's work related, as in they've done well, you've taken them out for a well done. It doesn't fit into a trivial benefit. Trivial benefits normally for things like birthday gifts and the like. So as you imagine, then you might have a taxable problem. So you've really got to think about what you're doing before you do this, particularly with teams. So if you take away anything from this video, make sure to categorize it in the right thing. And if it's regarding your team, just think about what it actually is that you're doing. Do your research, get some support.